Welcome to Stories Beyond Borders, the podcast where culture, identity, and personal journeys come together. I'm your host, Urmi, and in each episode we sit down with voices from around the world to talk about what it means to belong, to move, to grow, and to find home. Whether you're a third culture kid, an expat, or someone redefining identity on your terms, these are your stories too. Today I'm joined by Sherry Fang, the host and creator of Soft Power Project, a podcast exploring authenticity, resilience, and the inner work women leaders do to define success on their own terms. With over a decade of experience in marketing and communications and a life shaped by moving between Taiwan, Canada, and the USA and back, Sherry brings a deeply cross-cultural lens to storytelling, leadership, and identity. And today, we're so lucky to have her with us. Welcome, Sherry.
Hi, Army. Hi, everyone.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
So, here's my first question, which is the question that I ask to all of my guests, and that is, what is your story?
Okay, my story, long story short, I was born and raised in Taiwan, and I moved to Canada to study high school and then the States for university and the rest of my career. But I moved back to Taiwan kind of about 15 years ago, and I quickly started a family, but I got divorced. But then at the same time, I kind of started my consulting business. And that's kind of been a crazy ride, but here I am, started another podcast, which is Soft Power Project last year, because it's really a place where I get to invite a lot of women, yourself included, to share their transformation journey. Yeah, so that's kind of my story in a very quick form.
So we connected indeed through your podcast, and I was a guest in one of your episodes. And I know that you were briefly telling me a little bit about your experience. So I want to know a little bit about what was your experience like coming to Canada and also in the States, and how much time did you spend in each country, and what made you go back to Taiwan?
Yes. So I went to Canada when I think I was about 14, and I was really aware that at the time I needed to go to Canada, or I needed to go to the States where I could get to really speak the language that I loved. Because when I was in Taiwan, even though I was born and raised here, I just kind of fell in love with the language, and it felt to me like my mother tongue, even though I was in Taiwan. So yeah, that kind of really pushed me to go study abroad. I mean, for like 3 years, I stayed in a homestay, and it wasn't a very easy experience, especially I was a teen, still trying to find myself. So there was a lot of interesting challenges, and that definitely shaped who I am. And being in the States, obviously, college and exposed to so many different industries. So I was in finance and fashion for both in like, a few years. And so I think that really shaped, how I carried myself and how I want to present myself mostly. Yeah.
And where in Canada did you do your studies, and where in the States?
So I actually went to Vancouver first for about 8 months as like a testing the water situation. And then I moved to Kingston, Ontario. So during that time, so I was there actually for 3 years. And to me, that was a huge adjustment, because going from, I was born and raised here in Taipei, and to me, I felt like going to Kingston was quite a departure of that life, the city life. And also it was just so cold for me because I wasn't not used to it. It was such a challenge just to really adapt to quieter life and also a really harsh cold weather for me. And in the States, funny enough, I don't like the cold, but I always pick the place with really cold weather. I ended up in Chicago. So I was in Illinois, again, super windy, super cold. It was a huge adjustment for me. And then eventually I was in New York. So I was in New York City for the fashion career. And also I went to North Carolina for the rest of my finance career. So I moved around quite a lot when I was abroad.
So I have never been to Vancouver, and I know that there are a lot of Asians because of its proximity to it.
Yeah.
And you said there were a lot of adjustment. So my question is, did you feel like when you came to Vancouver, when you went to Vancouver, did you have any sort of like culture shocks?
That's a great question. Vancouver is such an interesting city because, like you said, there are a lot of Asians. You literally don't necessarily need to speak English to survive. You can live with speaking Mandarin or Cantonese because even if you go to ATM, on the screen you can click on, you can actually press on, I want you to display Mandarin. And so in terms of cultural shock, like food wise, everything, even language wise, it wasn't as big of a shock. But I think it was just because it was my first time moving away from home and I was 14 years old. And to me, that was me like trying to find my identity during that time and who I am, and also trying to fit in. So I think to me, that was a bit of an adjustment, meaning that, I actually, I need to create my own little group now, or I need to find my comfort zone and what that is and try to define that for myself.
Which is a very interesting, it's very interesting that you were going through that, trying to find out your identity, and you were quite young, in a completely new country. And you also mentioned how you went to Chicago. So I've been to Chicago, and I've been around May, and let me tell you this, it is really windy. It's crazy windy. I also know that it gets cold, but I never experienced it. However, Montreal gets a lot of cold weather, so I'm assuming it's pretty much the same. And I want to know your experience in the States. I want to know your experience in Chicago and also in New York. And I find it also quite interesting, your background. Like, your background is finance and fashion, which are two odd combinations if you think about it. So I want you to also speak to me about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of going back to, I on my show, I talked about people pleasing, and I'm definitely people pleaser growing up in my family. So the finance part of it is actually accounting. So I went to University of Illinois, and I knew that they had a wonderful accounting degree, and I did not know what I wanted to do. So I'm like, hey, my dad is an accountant. Let me major in accounting then. I'm going to make him proud. So I suffered. I struggled. It was not a major for me. It was not a profession for me. I know you're in finance. Like, I have so much respect for you, but it was hard. Everyone was on track to get a CPA at the time. I'm just like trying to survive in these classes, which I ended up graduating. I still cannot believe to this day, but then a part of me is like, well, now I completed my dad's dream. He's happy. What do I want to do? Oh, I want to get into fashion. So my mom she was a fashion designer. And I mean, I love fashion. I love style, but I'm never really into the design aspect of it. I don't think I'm creative that way. But I decided to go to New York. And so I went to Parsons School of Design to major in fashion marketing. And it partly was really also kind of fulfilled my mom's dream in a way. And yeah, so that's kind of why I had the both world. I had accounting, and then I had fashion. And yeah, that's kind of why it was so interesting. Everyone was like, seriously, that's two completely different world. You went from the extreme, but yeah, that's really kind of the reason why I decided to do that.
Mm-hmm. And these two worlds, they don't coexist. Like they don't integrate
Mm,
with each other. Like they're so opposite, like
hmm
finance and fashion. Like there's really no relationship with each other, which it's quite strange as a combination. It's the first time
hmm
I see it. And like you said, you're trying to please your parents, which brings me on this topic about people pleasing. And
hmm
myself also having South Asian heritage, I know what that means. And sometimes I think, especially being daughters, we get sucked into it. We just think that that's our job.
Yeah.
And I want to know a little bit about how you navigated that, and how do you navigate that, especially now that you're much older?
Mm. Oh, it's been a journey. I think I was such a people pleaser to the point where I didn't really know what I wanted. I never really thought about it because I was always looking at other people's, to see what they wanted to hear in a way. It's like they haven't even asked me the question, but already trying to pre-plan what they wanted to hear so I can pre-plan their reaction so I can agree with them so they can like me, right? And that was kind of how that's my thought process. So I think it wasn't until I was 35 that I was just like really fed up with my life at the time. I mean, I love my daughter. My daughter was really young at the time. I love her so much, but I had no idea, why did I get married? Why did I become a stay-at-home mom? Why did I just become a teacher part-time? Like, I did not understand any of it. And I already had that accounting degree. I already, had that experience in fashion, but nothing is lining up, right? It was really
Mm-hmm.
weird. It's like I got finance, I got fashion, and I came back, and all of a sudden I'm a stay-at-home mom. And I didn't like, it was driving me mad because I just didn't want that part of that life. It wasn't what I wanted. So I decided to really rediscover who I am. I think it was more like a push that I had to do it. So I think my self discovery journey really started then. It
Mm-hmm.
was not an easy journey. It's been, oh my gosh, like 7 years. And I felt like last year was really the time that I'm like really getting to the core of it and try to dismantle everything that I built before that, all those conditions that kept me safe. And I really started to build from ground up. Yeah. So it's been a long journey for sure.
Yeah, and it's never easy, right? Like it's how
Mm-hmm.
we're conditioned to believe this is how they're we were taught about doing things, but it's like I have to applaud you that you were able to be aware about it and you wanted to rediscover yourself, because I think it's a work that not everyone can get to. It's not something that everyone really becomes aware of it. So like you were able to do that, and then you were able to get to your answers, which is beautiful, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah. It's definitely, I think it's like half of it's courage, but half of it's definitely life just say, okay, enough is enough. You're
That's
just
it.
going to have to do the work. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. And what was your experience going back to Taiwan? Like, do you ever
Mm-hmm.
was it okay to adjust to it? Do you ever
Mm-hmm.
think about moving somewhere else?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that part continue, it was really also part of that people pleasing journey. I think, when I was like 28, 29, that was the time I was in the States, but I was not happy. I had the accounting job, but I was not happy. And my mom just kept saying that, come back to Taiwan. And I so very much wanted to make her happy because I'm the only child. And I really wanted to make her happy and I didn't know what I was doing. So I felt like, okay, I'm just going to drop everything that I created in the States and I'm just going to come back, which is what I did. And obviously part of me definitely did not regret that because all these experience, made me who I am. But it was also me trying to please my mom. So did I really choose to come back because I wanted to, or did I come back for her so that she can feel safer, more in control? I'm not sure. I definitely think they're both. And it wasn't easy because I basically had to start over, right? Everything that I built in the States, in a way, it didn't really make a lot of sense here, especially I switched career to education. I had to start over and rebuild everything. And I think friendship wise, that was interesting for me as well, because my friends were all in States and I didn't really have a lot of friends in Taiwan. And, it took me a very, very long time to rebuild kind of my social circle. Yeah. Home as well.
So here is my follow-up question. Is Taiwan what you consider to be your home?
It's definitely my home. But I think when, you were the guest on my show, you mentioned something that has still stuck with me. It's like, it's a feeling, right? And it's what you create. It's not a physical thing. And I completely agree. So it's really the feeling, and especially these couple years, I started to recreate that, like feeling of peace. What does that actually mean? So I wouldn't say Taiwan is definitely my home. I definitely benefit so much from the culture, the food, everything here. But I would say at this point in my life, I can probably go somewhere else. And if I just hold that peace and protect my peace, that's still my home. I kind of believed in that more and more nowadays. So it's not so much of a physical place.
And I resonate with what you said because, like I was saying in your podcast, for me, it's a feeling.
Yeah.
It's not connected to an actual physical place. Is how I feel about the people, the food, the culture, the memories that I have. Those are things that no one can take away from me. Whereas a physical home, you can easily destroy it if you think about it.
Yeah.
So, okay. And as we're approaching the end of this, one recurring thing that came up in this conversation is how, you were trying to find your identity, trying to discover yourself. So if I had to ask you this question today, which is, who are you now? What would you say?
That's a really good question. I'm trying to keep it short, but to be honest, for a very long time, for the last year, I've been having a really hard time to come up with a elevator pitch version of who I am. And which is funny because that's what my career, for the rest of my career, I was a consultant teaching communication. I've been teaching people how to do that for a long time, but I could not have a very short answer, succinct answer for myself. But I would say at this very moment, I'm someone who loves to share stories with others, who loves to observe life and different insights and perspective from different people, from different culture and different background, because I know we're all going through the same journey. And I'm someone who loves to share that with the rest of the world. And I hope to do that for as long as I can.
Yeah. And if I could give you the answer, I think you were just a storyteller.
Oh,
that's who you are. You like to share stories of other people in your platform. You like to share stories of women in your platform, and you basically give us the chance to be authentic and vulnerable in your platform. I think that's what you are doing.
Oh, thank you so much. I think that's such a wonderful way to put it. But yeah, I'll remember that. I'm a storyteller. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, a storyteller. So, as we are approaching the end of this interview, my last question is, what is the message that you want to leave today to the audience? And that could be in relation to your experience with moving around to a new country. It could be about people pleasing. It could be really anything that feels close to you that you want to share.
Okay. Something that I think on my personal journey and what I've discovered and observed is that I think everyone is just, we're all going through life as if we're starting over and over and over. And it's okay. I think it may seem so scary because the uncertainty is overwhelming, but we never start from zero. We're always just iterating from the previous version, and we learn from an experience. And I think starting over can be incredibly daunting, but there's never a perfect time to do it. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Do it scared, do it terrified, but it will give you the best outcome, because the clarity needs to come from chaos first. So it's okay if it's messy, but you're going to get exactly what you're looking for. So I think that's the message I wanted to give everyone, because I think collectively, I think we're all kind of going through that journey, and it really depends on how we wanted to react to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful message that I also agree with. One of my closest friends, who is also Asian, she shared with me this message, which is, whatever you want to do in life, never wait for the right moment, because there's not going to be the right moment. And, just jump on the opportunity to do the things that scare you the most, and you will see the result afterwards. And I do agree with what you said also about like human beings, you're never really starting over. It's all about evolution. Like, I like to think that we're in constant evolution of our identity, our personality, who we are. So I do agree with your message.
Yeah. And then you're doing exactly that. You have an amazing example set for everyone, is that you are also someone who just, you're not afraid. You just go out and you make the best out of it. Yeah. I really, really admire that.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Sherry, I do want to thank you for coming on my podcast today. Before I let you go, do you want to tell us how people can connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find my podcast on all the major platforms. On YouTube, it just calls Soft Power Project. And also you can follow me on Instagram. My handle is soft_power_ and project. Yeah, pretty easy to find. So yeah, come and join me. I do reels or some posts 3 times a week, pretty consistent. So yeah, you can find a bunch of different content, and also come and join and listen to Hermes and I's conversation. I think you're going to like it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Stories Beyond Borders. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, home isn't always a place. Sometimes it's a story. Until next time, keep crossing borders and telling your story.